Welcome, curious minds, to a deep dive into one of history's most debated and, well, dramatic texts, the Book of Revelation, often called the Apocalypse. Today, our mission is to unpack a fascinating set of sources, including a recent YouTube transcript, to understand what this ancient book might be suggesting about the end of times.
Right.
And maybe how its echoes resonate with our world today.
Yeah, for centuries, the Book of Revelation has captivated humanity, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sparks countless interpretations about how much time we might have left.
Exactly.
And our sources suggest that history isn't just random events, but it has a defined course, possibly leading to, an imminent end and the birth of a new world.
That idea of a world ending, throughout history, it's ignited everything from profound hope to, tragically, even things like mass suicides. It fuels this constant tension between faith and scientific understanding, yet, as our sources point out, none of those predicted ends ever truly arrived.
That's true.
So what makes some scientists and biblical scholars suggest the end could actually be near now?
Right. What's different?
And how does the sheer volume of global information we have today, this constant stream of news, data, make us feel like these ancient prophecies are unfolding right before our eyes?
It's a fascinating question, that feeling of acceleration.
Yeah. So to really grasp the apocalypse, we need to understand its origins. Our sources take us back to Palestine around 90 AD, not long after Jesus' death. What was the world like then? What picture did the sources paint?
Well, at that time, followers of Jesus were definitely growing in number within the Roman Empire.
Okay.
But the very idea of a Messiah, to Rome, that sounded like political threat, like rebellion.
Ah, makes sense.
So the Apostle John, a key figure, obviously, he was exiled to the island of Patmos,
Yeah.
which was actually a more lenient fate than many others experienced.
Right.
It was there, according to the accounts, that he received these profound divine revelations and recorded them. So the Book of Revelation itself, written around 100 AD, literally means revelation through prophetic visions. But it's understood less as a literal prediction and more as a specific literary formula, an apocalyptic genre.
Ah, okay, like a style of writing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was designed to offer hope to people suffering really intense persecution under a, frankly, corrupt and oppressive Roman Empire.
Right.
Its structure is complex, and that's key. It involves distinct stages. You've got the 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 cups.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, they're not just random divisions. They represent this progressive, escalating narrative of divine unfolding. Each carries symbolic meaning, like an announcement, or containing destructive forces, or certifying God's will.
So symbolic.
Very. The language is deliberately cryptic, symbolic, not literal. Precisely to avoid Roman detection and, destruction.
So it was basically a coded message of hope for its original audience. Given that coded nature, how do these prophecies about world destruction and Jesus' return actually get interpreted?
Well, the sources highlight different approaches, different postures, you could say. There's the preterist view. They argue everything in Revelation already happened, it's fulfilled in the past.
Ah, okay. Done and dusted.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Then you have the futurist view, which believes it's all yet to come, like a literal roadmap for our future.
Right.
Our specific source, though, kind of leans towards an understanding that Revelation describes everything that's been unfolding during what's called the period of the church, meaning from Jesus' departure until its eventual return. But ultimately, it emphasizes that Jesus holds the book, and he's the one who truly judges history, not us trying to predict dates.
Okay, that makes sense. So you mentioned earlier, 5 of the 7 seals are considered open already.
That's what many experts referenced in our sources believe, yes.
Given how symbolic it all is, how do the sources help us figure out, which events really count as a seal opening versus just being big historical stuff? What are these seals, really?
Good question. The sources describe them as representing events unfolding continuously, really over the last 2 millennia. It's a gradual destruction that paves the way for a new world.
A gradual process.
Yes, and many experts feel we're currently in the final phase, often called the Great Tribulation. So the first seal. This involves a white horse and a rider, often interpreted as false Christs, or maybe deceptive forces.
Deception.
Yeah. The text also mentions a beast with 7 heads, 10 horns symbolizing power that opposes Christianity, which Christ ultimately defeats.
Okay, and the Antichrist figure fits in here.
It does, but interpretations vary wildly. Throughout history, the Antichrist has been seen as many things. The Pope even identified the Antichrist as corruption.
As a concept, not a person.
Exactly. And the Apostle John in his Gospel says the Antichrist is simply anyone who denies Jesus.
Huh.
And that famous number is 666. In ancient languages where letters were also numbers, it could actually spell Caesar, symbolizing the political power persecuting the church.
Wow, so it could be a specific ruler or a type of power or even an idea.
Precisely. What's fascinating here is how the Antichrist isn't just one literal figure. It's been understood as, everything from a person to an abstract concept like corruption.
That flexibility is key, isn't it?
It really reveals how symbolic texts can describe these enduring challenges, making them relevant across ages, not just tied to one moment.
So if we accept this idea of an Antichrist on Earth, person or pervasive evil, the first seal could definitely be considered open.
Absolutely. So moving to the second seal, marked by a red horse, symbolizing violence, war.
Okay.
The horse itself, symbol of power, royalty back then, here signifies destruction.
Right.
And our source points out, human violence has been around since Genesis, basically.
True.
But when you consider the scale, over 80 million victims just in the 2 world wars in the 20th century, it's very hard to argue this seal hasn't been opened.
Yeah, that scale is undeniable. What's the third seal?
The third seal is famine, symbolized by a black horse.
Another constant throughout history.
Tragically, yes. Today, something like 13% of the world's population suffers from hunger. Estimates are around 850 million people currently dying from it.
That's staggering.
It is. Famine has always plagued humanity, and its ongoing pervasive presence certainly indicates this seal is open too.
Okay. And the fourth?
The fourth seal. A pale horse. This one brings disease, pestilence.
Plagues, epidemics.
Exactly. Global epidemics, endemics, they resonate strongly with this prophecy. Think throughout history, the Antonine Plague in 160 AD, the Black Death in the 14th century, wiped out a quarter of Europe's population.
Unimaginable devastation.
And the text even speaks of a third of humanity dying by fire, smoke, and sulfur. In our current century, with H1N1, AIDS, the ongoing risk of things like bacteriological warfare. Many experts believe this seal is also open.
It's compelling how these first 4 seals seem to line up with ongoing human suffering, global events. But let me play devil's advocate for a sec. Couldn't someone argue that humanity has always had war, famine, disease? That the text just gives us a framework to interpret suffering we'd experience anyway? Or do the sources suggest something unique about our time?
That's a really crucial point. And the source suggests it's not just the presence of these things, but maybe the increasing scale, the intensity, the global reach in modern times that aligns with the prophecy's unfolding.
Ah, the interconnectedness.
Right. Rapid communication, our globalized world, it makes these events feel more universal, more immediate than ever before.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, the fifth seal is quite different from the others.
How so?
It doesn't describe destruction. Instead, it's the plea of martyrs for the final judgment to arrive.
Martyrs, witnesses.
Exactly. Martyr in Greek means witness. It represents believers throughout history who paid with their lives for their faith. They're shown crying out to God, asking for an end to persecution.
Wow. And what's the response?
The divine response is quite poignant. They need to be patient, because the destruction will continue until a certain number is fulfilled.
A divine timing, beyond our understanding. That fifth seal really does offer a striking contrast, doesn't it? Amidst all the devastation, it highlights faith, perseverance.
It absolutely does. It suggests a bigger picture, a purpose even within the suffering.
Okay, so if those first 5 seals seem well underway, the 6th seal, that's described as the most fearsome, dramatic, consequences impossible to stop. How do the sources differentiate its cataclysms? Is there any hope of stopping this one?
Well, unlike the previous seals, where human enemies often seem to be the agents of destruction, the 6th seal depicts God himself triggering natural phenomena.
Nature itself turning against us.
In a way, the most direct event mentioned is a great earthquake. This is seen as marking the start of the truly apocalyptic cataclysm, dividing our current era from eternal life.
An earthquake.
And our understanding of geology has changed so much since the early 20th century, right? With seismographs, better equipment, we can actually verify the increasing frequency of earthquakes globally.
Is that connection made explicitly?
Scientists highlight things like the ring of fire around the Pacific Ocean. Plate collisions there cause intense volcanic activity, seismic shocks. It aligns eerily with descriptions of devastation and revelation. Even astronomical predictions like our sun eventually becoming a red giant and engulfing planets, that resonates with the imagery of fire.
Wow.
And historical quakes, like the massive one in Chile in 1960, 9.5 magnitude, the strongest ever recorded. Plus, there's data showing a significant increase in global earthquakes since about 2009. Science is investigating why, no full explanation yet, but some see it as evidence this seal is activating.
That's intense. But amidst this terrifying vision, our sources mention a profound hope. The New Jerusalem, a saved place. What is that?
Yes, the New Jerusalem is seen as a really key concept for understanding Revelation. It represents the new people of God.
Okay.
It's described as a golden city, or city of gold. Why gold? Because gold in Revelation often symbolizes God's character, his purity.
Symbolic again.
Very much so. It's where believers, filled with love for God and each other, will supposedly reside. And the source notes, when Revelation was written, the actual earthly city of Jerusalem was in ruins.
Right.
Which strongly suggests this New Jerusalem is more than just a physical place. It's maybe a spiritual reality, a transformed state.
Okay, but then this next part really shifts things. Our source introduces a real-world community called New Jerusalem in Michoacan, Mexico. Tell us about this place.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It's a village and religious community founded back in 1973 by a Father Nabor.
Okay.
It started after a peasant woman named Gabina Sanchez reportedly received a message from the Virgin Mary.
A vision.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
And the inhabitants believe they'll be saved through their faith and strict adherence to specific rules.
Yeah.
Very strict.
Like what?
Constant prayer, tithes, and they forbid modern technology, secular education, dating, even soccer is banned.
Wow. That's a very different way of life.
They believe the Virgin asked for a simple, poor place to gather her children for the end times. And interestingly, geologically, the community sits on subsoil with copper and iron plates.
Really? Why is that significant?
They believe it makes the ground stronger against earthquakes, a possible protection from the Sixth Seal's cataclysms.
A literal safeguard.
That's their belief. And it's not totally unique in history. Groups like the Puritans, even Columbus, had ideas about establishing their own New Jerusalems.
Fascinating. So as we approach the seventh seal, the ultimate end of history, our sources bring in other biblical evidence, different interpretations. What's the final act supposed to look like?
Well, other books like Matthew and Daniel also talk about the end times. Daniel's visions especially symbolize human society reaching this point of instability where it just collapses.
Sounds familiar.
Doesn't it? It connects strongly to what some see as our current era's indisputable acceleration.
Acceleration.
Yeah, the staggering rate of scientific knowledge growth, so that's something like 2,000 pages per minute apparently. Rapid tech advances, supersonic planes, AI.
Right.
And at the same time, this wear and tear on the planet, on human relationships, this feeling of everything speeding up, is seen by some as a profound sign of the approaching end. Then there's the Christian belief in the parousia.
The second coming.
Yes, the second coming of Jesus as the judge of history. And the sources lay out maybe 3 basic visions for how history ends.
Okay, what are they?
One is kind of utopian, an idyllic peace. Another is restorative, where a powerful state of Israel flourishes.
Right.
And the third is catastrophic, immense suffering, war, symbolized by Armageddon, which, by the way, is Har Megiddo, a real historical place in Israel.
A real place.
Yeah, and biblical references also describe these dramatic cosmic signs like the moon turning to blood. These were powerful images used way back in the Old Testament to signify, catastrophic divine intervention.
So this brings us right back to the core tension. Are we really on the brink of that seventh seal?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Our sources show this dynamic. Some skeptics say, look, the end of the world is billions of years away, tied to the sun's life cycle.
The scientific long-term view.
Right. While others, looking at specific scientific trends and biblical interpretations, believe devastation is genuinely imminent. How do we square those?
It's tough. The seventh seal in the text marks the definitive end of history as we know it. It's the triumph of the chosen, the defeat of evil, the ultimate establishment of God's kingdom.
So ultimately a message of hope.
Fundamentally, yes.
Yeah.
It's profound hope and liberation, where injustice is finally punished and a new reality begins.
But
it's crucial to remember that counterpoint in our sources. Revelation is a specific Jewish apocalyptic literary genre.
not a literal newspaper headline from the future.
Exactly. Not a crystal ball for our calendar. Its original purpose, the source suggests, was really to address the present struggles of its time, offering hope and understanding in that immediate context, not just predicting a distant future.
So we've taken quite a deep dive into Revelation, from its ancient roots, its symbols, how it's been read through the ages, even looking at a modern community trying to live it out.
Yeah, it's a text that undeniably sparks both intense fear and incredible hope.
And experts are clearly still debating whether its warnings are millennia away or, could unfold any minute.
The question really does remain, is that New Jerusalem a literal, physical place of refuge? Or does it represent a spiritual transformation, something that could happen anywhere, anytime, for people who embody its principles?
It leaves us with a really compelling thought, doesn't it? Is the apocalypse mainly this single future event we read about? Or is it maybe a continuous process, human transformation, struggle, rebirth, something we're always living through, perhaps without even realizing it?
A constant cycle.
Yeah. What signs do you see around you that resonate with these ancient ideas? And how does this deep dive maybe reshape your own understanding of our past, present, and where we might be headed?